Hey everyone, today I'm creating some Christmas cards and some birthday cards using some Christmas die cuts from Paper Rose. I'm using these with the November 2023 SheetLoad of card template from Call Me Crafty. I am part of the collaboration team, so you will see the hashtag on the screen. It'll be in the video title and then there'll be a playlist in the description below, and you can go and check out all the videos from the collaboration team. We all do a different look and feel for each template, so it's well worth checking out everyone's different style. Now I am using this Snuggle Christmas die cuts from Paper Rose. I have run through and I have cut these out of the sheets that they come in. I find this process a little annoying, but I'm getting a little bit better at it. I love the product. The product is absolutely beautiful, so it is well worth my time. I have cut out most of them using the scissors when they were in the outline or in the paper sheet. And for these ones, I actually pulled them out and then cut off the little tabs. And honestly, I think this way was faster. The next step was to figure out which paper to partner up with the die cuts. Because it's blue and white and probably, I don't know, a little like crafty kind of color, a light craft, light tan, I was able to find this half-used paper pack from Kaisercraft, another Australian company, and this one is called White Christmas. I don't think it's available anymore, but you can see here I'm just sorting through the papers and I'm putting aside the ones that I don't think will work for this design, and anything with a small print that I think would work being cut into smaller pieces, I'm putting aside to use for the November 2023 cards. I normally try and use paper pads that are still available either at scrapbook.com or one of the other bigger companies, because I think if people see something that they like, they get disappointed if they can't find it. But sometimes I think it's good to use just what's in your stash. So I highly encourage you to do that with this month's sketch. The pieces are quite small. So if you've got partial pieces of 6x6 paper and they're in your stash and they're not moving, then maybe this is a great way for you to use them up. Now I'm just running through here and cutting all of the pieces down into the rectangle that will be cut diagonally and will turn into the top and the bottom of the feature element on the card, and you will see what I mean in a moment. So this is a very, very simple process, running through and chopping these down. No trouble at all, very, very simple measurements. What I decided is, as I was chopping these diagonally, I wasn't being too specific about exactly measuring where I was cutting, but I was very specific about making sure I lined the pairs up together. So when I put them on the feature element, they would not have incorrect borders and they would lay out perfectly. Now, I'm not sure if that kind of makes sense, but when we put together the next element, you'll notice that if you pair up two that are cut differently, or where the paper's not matching, this could all go a little bit pear-shaped at this step. So you'll see here I started out using my ATG and I'm just laying this down onto the pre-cut white element, and I'm using a piece that matched with it so that I can put it at the top and the bottom, and I know that these two are a pair and they're not going to look wonky. Now, as I was doing this, I realized it's really kind of tricky to get the ATG at the very end of this triangle piece because it's a little bit wider and it was just fiddly. So instead, I grabbed my liquid glue and then I changed my approach. It was at this point that I realized I had a whole ton of 1/2-inch strips that I'd cut off the edge of paper pads when I was working on a project some time ago. Most of them are Kaisercraft because Kaisercraft often comes at 6.5 by 6.5. And so when I cut off the edge, I just end up with loads and loads of these strips. Some of them were in navy, some of them were in a light tan. So they worked absolutely perfectly for this project. You can see in my hand, there's lots of different colors and I'm trying to figure out what to do with them. And in fact, I did come up with an idea for another project when I was working through this. So you might see on my channel down the track a video using up lots of these little strips. Now, I wasn't really sure which embellishments I was going to put on which panel, so I decided it'd be good to incorporate some of the tan on several of the cards. This way it would tie together really nicely and I wouldn't have to try and figure out a way to introduce new colors. I really just wanted to add the die cuts on top and add a sentiment and have the cards be completed. In most instances, I had more of the blue than I did of the tan, so you'll see that I'll put blue on the edge and tan in the middle. I really did just mix these up as best as I could and try and make sure that each of these panels had a really good color combination that I could match up with something afterwards. Now, the Snuggle Christmas die cuts are absolutely gorgeous, and they are a non-traditional colour for Christmas. Well, I guess if you consider Christmas is mainly red and green, but you can do whatever you want for Christmas. You do you. Oh, I feel like I just sound like Tim Holtz. I've been watching his videos recently, and he constantly says, you do you. As I was working through and doing these, as I said, I was trying to make good color combinations that would mix with the color palette of the die cuts. And in that theme, I have some craft backing panels and some shimmery dark blue. And I'm just running through here and deciding which one's going to go on which backing panel. And then I've glued them on, and then I've added them to a card base. And I'm right now up to the last step, which is, well, the second last step, which is working through and adding the die cuts to the panels themselves. Because I've already put the cards together, this really is the second last step, the final step being to add the sentiment. But I did all of that off camera so you didn't have to watch me glue, because I do think that this part here about deciding what goes on what card is the more interesting part. Now, I tend to overthink doing this, so I was pushing myself to just do it quickly. I had die cut a whole bunch of circles because I thought it's really good to have a landing space sometimes for die cuts if you're not sure where to put them. This card design, or this SheetLoad template, I found absolutely brilliant. I think it's because of the diagonals. There's many places that you could put the focal point, and I didn't find myself having die cuts that I couldn't figure out where to put them. And here you'll see, I've got a big bauble with a gorgeous little puppy dog, and I've popped one up on foam tape, and then I tuck another small one behind just to add a little bit more interest to the card. With several of these, I did start with the puppies first. So I thought they're the ones that are really easy to add to a card, and not all of them look like Christmas. Some of them are wearing Santa hats, some of them are holding onto a bauble, but for the ones that aren't, that are literally just little puppy dogs with little cute bow ties and things, I decided to mix up my sentiments today, and I've created some Christmas and some birthday. And I did that because I don't use a lot of Christmas cards, and so I thought it might be good to create some of these as birthday, and then they're a little bit more universal. Now, you might have noticed that I just put 3 puppies onto a card just to see how it looked. I really liked it, but I do like stretching out my supplies a little bit more. So instead, I grabbed a couple of these vellum circles that I had on the side of my desk, and I put a little bit of glue down the middle so that the puppy would cover it. And then that was a cute way to use those up, rather than try and work out a way to put lots and lots of die cuts onto a single card. You can see here, I was talking about before, I've tried to just add a little bit more interest by putting a bauble behind. Every time I use one, you will see I never put the bauble straight up. I'm trying to make it look like it's sitting on the ground. And when they do that, they don't tend to sit straight up. In fact, a lot of them would sit with the part where the string goes into the bauble facing the ground. And on some of the future cards, I actually do that with a bauble. So it's a little bit more realistic. If you are interested in any of the products I've used today, I have put a link below in the description so you can check any of those items out. And it would be awesome if you're enjoying the video if you could hit the like button or subscribe, or even add a comment if you've got some questions for me, some videos you would like to see, or anything at all. Just anything that you're interested in putting below, please go ahead. I love reading through the comments and hearing from people who are enjoying creating and watching the videos. And there seems to be a really great community of people who enjoy SheetLoad videos. So absolutely make sure you drop a comment below. I am now doing some little clusters of baubles, and you'll see here what I mean on that one right at the top there, where I've put the bauble so it looks like it's kind of fallen over and the little bit is pointing down. And again, on this one, it's pointing kind of sideways and then up on an angle. I think the trick is to make them not look too perfect, and they tend to look better. I'm by no means an expert. You can see here I'm running through using up the rest of the baubles. I'm now up to the sentiments, and I did fussy cut out a few Merry Christmas ones from some leftover sentiment strips, and I'm putting those onto, I guess I've picked the ones where there's quite a bit going on, so a bit more of a cluster. I haven't used them on the ones with just a puppy. So the ones with these gorgeous baubles hanging from the roof, and then the other ones that had a little bit of a collage is where I've used them. My next step is to run through, and you can see here I've got 2 piles of sentiments. I have birthday and Christmas, and I am running through the ones that I think I can get away with birthday, and I'm just adding some liquid glue and running through these relatively quickly. I am on the lookout for anything Christmas. So that one with the Santa hat definitely got a Merry Christmas. And then these baubles are absolutely Christmas for sure. So a bit of a mixture of cards this time. And I really enjoyed creating not only Christmas but birthday together. And this template is excellent. It's great for using scraps, so I highly recommend it. I have put a video here that I think you might enjoy that uses more scraps. Have a great day.